You're so gorgeous and funny. I think you deserve the world. Can you just let me take you out sometime? Ew! You think I deserve the world? You want to take care of me? Is there something wrong with you? Are you okay? You're low-key ugly, clingy as f***. I honestly don't even like your personality that much. You're not even hot. But like, I just want to use you for your body. Wait, why do I like him so much? There's just something different about him. I'm kind of digging it. Wait, like I want him so bad. Ah!
I like that. That's funny. This phenomenon is real. Men treating women too well, being too much of a nice guy, can make women lose attraction. That's why this video is funny, because women being attracted to men who treat them terribly is a common occurrence.
I'd rather be with him and he treat me horribly wrong than be with you and you treat me right.
Why do women have this preference? It's because they're absolutely sick of thirsty men chasing her, having no standards, just simping after her, too scared to actually state what he really wants. Women want actual men, masculine men, a man that she can respect, look up to, admire, someone who appeals to her hypergamy. That is a man who actually provokes a sexual response in her, a man that she notices. And unless he has some kind of edge to him, then he's invisible. He's too soft and mushy to be considered as a legitimate dating prospect, and so he gets sent to the friend zone. Now, there are a lot of guys in my audience who used to be that way, but they've discovered my channel, they've subscribed, they've learned this stuff, and they finally understood that masculinity is the key to creating attraction inside women. And now they're on the masculinity train and it's finally working, women are noticing them. They don't want to get off. They never want to go back to being the nice guy, the pushover, the guy who pedestalizes women. Once you've had a taste of being a masculine man, you never want to go back to the old ways again. But some guys are overcorrecting. I recently had a Hey Hero request where a guy was absolutely panicking because his girlfriend called him sweet. She complimented him based on how caring he had been as a boyfriend recently, and it absolutely terrified him. He reached out to me wanting to know, does she not respect me anymore? Have I lost my masculine frame? She called me sweet. Is this a big disaster? Does she see me as some feminine gal pal? What should I do? Okay, first off, let me validate some of your fears, because if at the start of a relationship she's saying things like, you're so sweet, yeah, that's a big problem. If you're coming across as too non-threatening, too friendly, too kind, then she's not going to view you as a sexual prospect. In the beginning of a relationship, you need to lean heavily on your masculinity, because it's the polarity between the masculine and the feminine that creates that sexual tension. When she first starts dating you, she wants excitement, she wants mystery, even a little bit of danger. She wants to be in awe of your strength. Physically, yes, but also just in terms of your frame, your confidence. She wants to be dazzled by your masculinity because that's what makes her feel feminine. Women want to feel like women, and the more you can bring out that femininity in her, the more you can make her feel like a woman in the relationship, the more attracted she's going to be to you. When she first starts dating you, she does not want to feel like generic person in your company. She wants to be very, very aware of her own femininity, of her own womanhood, and she wants you to be the one to bring that out in her. That's what activates her sexual response. Which is why, if at the beginning of a relationship you're getting a lot of compliments about your feminine side, about how sweet, kind, and caring you are, yeah, that's a problem. There's no polarity. However, that dynamic doesn't last forever into the relationship. Once the sexual tension has been established and she's into you, she's attracted to you, and she's your girlfriend, then you don't need to be so worried about it. You've already established yourself as a masculine presence in her world. She wouldn't be your girlfriend if you hadn't. And once that underlying frame, that paradigm has been locked in and she feels secure in your masculinity, she sees it, she likes it, she respects it. At that stage, you don't need to be so scared about her seeing your feminine side. If she's complimenting it, calling you things like sweet, that's actually a good thing, so long as your feminine side is not at the expense of your masculine side. You want it to be a healthy addition, something that makes you more dynamic. Take a look at this picture. Now, photos of like super jacked firemen holding puppies is almost a bit cliche at this point. It's because women want you to be masculine, right? Like she wants to know that you're strong, that you're capable. thus the fireman with his super ripped body. That's very, very appealing, but she wants to know that that masculinity is going to be able to serve her feminine interests, that you're going to be able to protect her and provide for her. That's why the puppy is there. Look, there's all this strength and muscles from these men, but they're using all of that masculinity to protect these sweet, innocent, cute puppies. That's what makes it so appealing. Masculinity that just serves its own interest can quickly become very ruthless and selfish. Unrestrained masculinity can quickly turn to control, violence, narcissism, manipulation. That can be really frightening for a lot of women. They want that strong masculinity, of course, but they want it tempered by some femininity. From an evolutionary point of view, women do have instincts telling them to mate with men who have good genetics. But they're also on the lookout for men with good values, good temperament, because that's what shows they're going to be good husbands and fathers. You could essentially swap out these puppies for images of these men holding babies, and it would have that same kind of appeal. Look how strong the father of my child is, but then look how sweet he is with the little baby. Women love that, and from their point of view, that tenderness is not coming at the expense of his masculinity, but exists in addition to it. It gives it purpose, it gives it direction, and it makes it a lot more trustworthy. She feels safe around that. She looks at that and thinks he's going to be a great dad. He's going to be tough when he needs to be, but also soft when he needs to be. Women want a dynamic man. We saw lots of proof of that in my paid course when we listened to real women. You men in my audience who have a well-developed feminine side, that's going to serve your interests really well in a long-term relationship, so long as it's built on a foundation of unshakable masculinity. You don't tend to hear this much in the sort of male-centric spaces on the internet about why it's sometimes good to have a well-developed feminine side, because for the most part, the focus for men seems to be on how to sleep with as many women as possible. And if all you're looking to do is get laid and have short-term gratification, then you don't really need any femininity. You just need a well-developed masculinity, and that's going to create the short-term attraction for you to fulfill that goal. But my channel is not about how to get laid. It's about how to find high-quality women and enter into long-term relationships with them that are happy, healthy, and fulfilling. And if you're one of these guys that's interested in finding a high-quality woman, let me promise you that she's not going to be interested in a one-dimensional man who all he has to offer is masculinity. If he has no sweet side to him, then she's not going to commit, because she knows as a husband, as a father, he's going to be too one-dimensional. So I'll state this plainly just to reiterate what I'm saying. If you want to be with a high-quality woman, you need masculinity. Full stop. That needs to be your non-negotiable foundation. You will not get your foot in the door or provoke any sexual response in women unless you have masculinity. So that is non-negotiable, okay? But on top of that, if you want to have a dynamic relationship and really reach the top echelons of what it means to be happy with a partner, with a really high-quality woman, you need to have a feminine side as well. A well-adjusted individual understands that masculinity is not a zero-sum game. To think of it as either masculine or feminine and the two of them are necessarily at war with each other is such a basic conception. Being nice to her, being compassionate, being sweet inside your long-term relationship does not make you less masculine. It means that you're a multi-dimensional being who's emotionally intelligent enough to understand when it's necessary to switch up their engagement style depending on the context. She wants you to be masculine when you choose the restaurant, but when you're sitting across from her at dinner, she wants you to be able to talk, to emotionally connect with her, to make the evening interesting. She wants you to be masculine by planning the weekend getaway, but she wants you to be compassionate and sensitive to her needs so that when you're planning all these activities for your holiday, you've taken into account the sort of things that she enjoys. Maybe you've even got a surprise from her based on something that she said a month ago. Yes, all the planning and the logistics was very masculine and you've really demonstrated your leadership, but the way that you've done it was with reference to the fact that you understand her, you listen to her, you empathize with her. She wants to see that you understand her and that you care about her needs and wants. She wants to see some of your feminine side. And as a father, when your son comes home from school and he's being bullied, she wants to see your masculinity to teach him how to be tough, how to stand up for himself. But if you're out with him and he trips and falls and seriously physically injures himself and he's in a lot of pain and a lot of fear, she wants to know that you're capable of holding him, of cuddling him, of reassuring him, calming him down, making him feel safe. She wants to know that you're a dynamic human being who can change based on what's appropriate for each situation. I'm telling you, it's not doing you any harm to let your long-term partner see that in addition to your well-developed masculinity, you also have a feminine nurturing side as well. She wants a man who has both. So if she compliments you and says, "You've been so kind and caring recently, you're so sweet," there's no need to panic. It's all good so long as she still respects your masculine competence, as long as she still sees you as someone capable of leading the relationship. She's still showing you gratitude. You still have a healthy sex life. As long as she still respects your masculinity, there's no need to fear compliments about your femininity. If, however, she no longer respects your masculinity and you can sense that she's starting to treat you like one of her girlfriends, you've got a problem. You're a man. You need to be a man. Masculinity is your first priority. Think of the femininity that you show in the relationship as just a bonus. It's not foundational to your identity or what you bring to the relationship. It's just like little sprinkles that you put on top. It might give it a little bit more of a dynamic flavor, but the core ingredient is always masculinity. But then how do you tell the difference between whether or not a woman is viewing your femininity in a positive way or a negative way? How can you tell whether or not she started to lose respect for your masculinity in the relationship? What are the signs? I answer those questions in the full-length version of this video, which is available on my Patreon. This is just the shortened version. If you want to see the full version, go over to Patreon.